When I was younger, I worked at this legal binding firm. It sat like a little jewel in that pocket of space downtown. None of the buildings directly around it were as tall as this building, so it stood out. And I remember I used to take a mile and a half walk from my house through the hood, past the yo boys, past the crack house, into downtown, past the homeless man sleeping on the bus stop, a few blocks down, and there was this building. One of the things that was interesting about this place is it was full of people who felt that they were important people. It was also full of people who were actually very important people. But what I loved about this interesting dynamic is that the elevators were the great equalizer. Unless you had the magical key that went to the last elevator at the end of the hallway on the left that went up to the penthouse. And I only saw that happen once. Other than that, you had to ride the elevators that the rest of us rode. And seeing the discomfort on the faces of the people who felt that they were very important people always brought me a strange sense of joy. It was the realization that how dare they have to ride the elevator with the postman, with the delivery person bringing pizza, with the angry spouse that was coming up to confront someone, or that they had to ride the elevator with the likes of me. Especially me, probably, because I know that I am a little weird. In fact, who am I to put an amount on such a wonderful quality? I am weird. I own it. Now I own it. I am certain that I made more than enough of them uncomfortable. Like, I'll never forget the man whose buttons were buttoned in a very weird way. And I made sure to point out this very interesting way that his buttons were buttoned. And the look on his face was a mix of embarrassment and anger. How dare I point out this thing that he did not notice? But I'm happy that I pointed it out, and he was probably happy that I pointed it out because he might have been a little embarrassed as a person who felt that he was a very important person had he gotten off on his floor and looking as messy as he did. But the greatest joy of working in this building was this girl named Smoo. I don't know if Smoo knows how much she influenced me. And to tell you the truth, I wish I could remember Smoo's name. I think I know her name, but I would feel bad if I said it and that's not her name. And the sad thing is I remember her mother's name. Her mother was also wonderful. Two wonderful women. And I love when I got to work with these two people. They taught me so much, especially Smoo. The thing about Smoo is how she owned herself. When I met Smoo and I interacted with her, I quickly realized that I don't know, or at the time, I did not know any woman who held herself the way Smoo held herself. Smoo carried herself like a brick. I know that's a weird analogy, but what I mean by that is Smoo carried herself like she had weight, like a wall, like no one could penetrate her. Smoo carried herself like she was the only person that could really own her, could be near her. She controlled the space around her. And it was the most amazing thing that I think I had experienced at that point. Smooth was kind. She was not nice. I don't think I had experienced many kind people. I had experienced a lot of nice people, but not kind. Smooth scared me. But the more I thought about it, the more I processed this, Smoo didn't scare me. Her freedom scared me. How she was scared me. How she defined herself scared me. And it scared me because I had never done such a thing. It was a terrifying thought to fully lean into yourself. What was that? She was probably one of my first examples of women who I interacted with consistently, who owned herself, owned her decisions, owned her desires, and I could not get enough of it. I listened to Smoo. If Smoo was talking, I was hearing. If Smoo was giving me advice, even if I didn't like it, I was listening. Smoo encouraged me to speak up for myself. And when I didn't, she would give me this knowing look as if to say, if you want it to stop, you'll change it. She gave me quiet accountability. We would go somewhere, we would walk to lunch, and her mom would say, I'm not worried about you, Ebony, because I know Smoo is there. And here I thought I was watching out for her, and she was watching out for me. And it's true. People didn't mess with Smoo. It was the way she walked, it was the way she talked, it was her countenance, it was her. I used to admire the way she wore her clothes. Simple, colorful, but sparkling. Everything she wore said, I like me. She had these piercings that lined her ear, and they were like little sparkling diamonds. She had bejeweled nails, long, gorgeous. She always wore a lot of jewelry and large rings. And when she typed, they clacked and they clinked, and everything made this little symphony of her. And I admired it from a safe distance. I remember once my husband met her. He came to pick me up from work and he met everyone. And he was nice to them in the diplomatic way that he was often nice to people that he thought he should impress. And when we left, I excitedly said, Oh, that was Smooth. And his facial expression dropped and he said, I know. And he started to rattle off all of the things that I admired about her as if they were the worst qualities in the world. He called her manly and abrasive, and I called her strong and inspiring. And I never mentioned her again at home. But I valued her openly at work. I still listened, I still learned. And it's interesting because today, I think I'm a little more Smoo like than I've ever been. And maybe I'll inspire someone else the way that she inspired me.